to go live. Okay, well, let's start that again. Hi, I'm Nick.
I'm Gab.
And we're HipStrings. And also, we were talking to ourselves for the past 8 minutes because I could have sworn that I hit the go live button, but I didn't. And thanks to your comments, I noticed that. So why don't I start again? I deeply apologize, but thank you to Ashley for making a comment asking about it, and for Amy and Lenora for verifying that you couldn't see anything either. I'm a mess. I apologize. So let's start that again. Welcome to day 5, part 2 of the Base12 2023 Spinalong. Day 5 is, since Jill already spun hers and everything is going in order for her, and I did not roll the 5, I will show you all what the day 5 is supposed to be. It is this wonderful Autumn Beauty signature blend. So this is actually a renamed signature blend. This originally was called Chambord, but because Jill wanted to get it added into the Nature collection, she renamed it to Autumn Beauty. Maybe we need to revisit the alcohol collection at some point in time. Early on, we had a collection based on different cocktails, but not currently. So anyway, that was a fun one. We actually sold it with not only some photos that went along with it, but also little shot glasses, HipStrings shot glasses. So if you're a really early fan of HipStrings, you might have one of those laying around. And yes, Hollis, thank you for saying hello to us both. And Amy, yes, I agree. Clearly, Jill going on walkabout throws everything off. I've had a bit of a day, but we're here. We're good. Everything's great now. So what am I spinning now? Actually, I am actually spinning day number 2, which is Goldenberry. As a reminder, that is. Oh, did I say what the percentage of the Autumn Beauty was? Okay, I forgot to do that. So Autumn Beauty, by the way, the one for today's day is 50% Merino, 25% Shetland, 12.5% Tussa Silk, and 12.5% Mulberry Silk. And that is a signature blend that you can get on the shop easily. So if you, I don't know if Jill has renamed that one, but if she has not, you would find it under Chambord. Okay, so then what am I spinning today is the Goldenberry Rambouillet Silk. So that's 80% Rambouillet and 20% Tussa Silk, and that was what was seen on day 2. Okay, so about, let's say, 9 minutes ago, I started spinning. And who is joining me tonight? Asked Jean. Well,
I'm Gab.
Gab is our eldest child. Gab joined us for yesterday as well. And because Jill is, as Amy noted, Jill is on walkabout, making plans to dominate the world with fiber. But Jill will be back again tomorrow. But thank you for joining us tonight, Gab. And now we can talk again about what are you working on tonight?
I'm knitting Lord Berrywinkle's sweater.
So
he's very long, so it's a very long sweater.
And Lord Berrywinkle is that wonderful creation in your lap currently,
yeah.
Right? So one of the great things about the yarn that Gab is working with is the double major yarn on the ends. So if you want to hold that up, a double major is a HipStrings yarn with a unique blend, with a unique dye process that actually ends up with a speckled gradient. So you're going, in this case, from a black to a blue. And the nice thing is why it's called double major is that it comes with 2 skeins that are matched. So you can do a pair of socks, a pair of gloves, 2 matching parts of a long Furby sweater, etc. So Gab has been working on this for a while, and The center section, by the way, is the Gab had noted is the same base as double major, double minor, so it ended up working pretty matched well together. And
I think it's Targi.
You had a good story about
I did.
the middle skein. So why don't you go ahead with that?
So, like 3 years ago at Shenandoah, I started this, and it's clearly not done as I'm working on it. And so the next year, I had brought it to Shenandoah, and I don't think I was working on it because I was crocheting something else. And there was a tornado, and we had left Lord Berrywinkle in the booth to protect it or something. And when we got back from the tornado, there was one skein of yarn that got wet, and it was the yarn I was using to knit his sweater. So clearly he was very upset that I had not finished his sweater.
It was the sign from the Furby, that the Furby threw a tantrum, but a very nice tantrum, and only got one skein wet. So I should probably talk about that whole story. But before, let's see. Amy says, I'm currently knitting a human sweater with a double major yoke, like the one Jill wore at IKS this year. Awesome. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, Ashley says your sweater's amazing. Your Furby sweater.
Oh, the Furby sweater,
Yeah.
not my actual sweater?
I don't know. Your actual sweater's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your actual sweater before I go into the story?
I found it at a thrift store. It might have been in the vintage section. I don't remember.
So Gab is very well versed in the thrift wardrobe styling. And Stephanie's asking, is it made from real humans? I'm assuming referring to Amy's human sweater. Which I'm not even going to go down that road. That's an amazing road that I'm not going to go down at the moment because I'm already too frazzled as it is. So yeah. And by the way, my sweater, I feel really good about not remembering the pattern on my sweater because in preparation for the variable questions on the sweater, I asked Jill, hey, by the way, sorry to interrupt, but what's this sweater? And Jill didn't even remember. So I feel completely justified in not remembering the pattern of this sweater. On to the story of the tornado. So one of the shows that we regularly vend at is Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. And 2 years back, there was a tornado that went through, but it was actually kind of a weird situation. Nobody expected there to be a tornado or anything like that. And thankfully, nothing touched down, but we didn't know what was going to happen at the time. We knew that a severe thunderstorm was coming, and usually we have our kids set up in a tent right behind the booth that we vend at. But since it was raining and it's not like a real tent, it's one of those like beach tents that doesn't really completely cover everything, we decided, okay, well, let's get everything packed up and we'll take it back to the car. And the kids can stay in the car for a little bit while it's raining. We can keep them company. It'll be okay. So we did that, and as I was coming back to get the last couple of things, one of the vendors says, hey, there's a tornado watch going on. We're like, okay, well, we got to keep an eye on that. And then as I'm walking back with the other stuff to the car, the same vendors are saying, oh, no, that's been upgraded to a tornado warning. So at that point, I finished taking the stuff to the car, grabbed the kids, and we went with many other vendors into basically a small, who would you describe it as? Basically,
Like a canopy?
Basically a large canopy that was for the eating area, but not fully protected. We thankfully had everybody watching around for any signs of tornado. There was no tornado in sight, nothing touched down, but there was a lot of wind. And it was so severe, the wind, that some of the vendors whose tents were not properly staked down, the tents flew up in the air and were like 10, 20 feet away. but unfortunately all of their wares got soaked. Thankfully for us, we had closed up everything nice and tight, so by the time the rain had stopped and we were able to get back to the booth, we unzipped everything, and the only casualty was that one skein that apparently Lord Barrywinkle had threw it on the floor in a tantrum. But the amazing thing was, tornadoes will not stop a shopper at a fiber festival, because literally within 5 or 10 minutes, as we're unzipping everything, people are just starting to walk around again as if nothing had happened, kind of confused as to why our booth was closed up. So we think that there was people at the barns that maybe they didn't notice that a tornado had come through, but you know. You were saying, Gab, that so many people actually got soaked that Shenandoah was what they were giving away free shirts.
Yeah, they said if your shirt was wet, you'd get a free T-shirt.
Nice. So let me look through some of the comments to see what I've missed. Ashley's upset that they missed the shot glasses. We'll have to see if maybe we can bring those back in some way, shape, or form. I enjoy them. I still use ours. Let's see. Gene is saying, "Yay for more netters in the world." So for you, and in fact, I've been spending the last couple of days training our youngest, who's 8 years old now, to knit. But Gab is definitely our overachiever, as they've been knitting since they were 5.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Amy has clarified that it is not made of human, but the sweater is for a real human and not for a Furby. A little bit more complicated. You got to have sleeves and.
This is just a tube.
Yeah.
I can just go. I think I watched the entire season of Good Omens while knitting this.
Yeah. Only once?
No, the second time I watched it.
Okay.
I watched the entire first season in one sitting for 5 hours knitting this.
You know, I feel like it would be a great thing to keep track of what projects you're working on when watching different shows. And I'm trying to figure out what would be like the best way to keep track of it. Because like for garments, I can imagine like the little tag that you have on the back that would mark like this sweater knit with love while watching Good Omens season 1 and 2 and half of season 3 or something, right?
Season 3 doesn't exist yet.
I know, but I'm talking. Neither does this tag. It's
Yeah.
for the future. All right, now I'm getting nervous whenever
post?
Oh, did you get a?
I got a
notification
notification too, so.
Now I'm getting nervous that when I get notifications, I'm like, okay, wait, are we still streaming? All right, good, very good.
I got a Duolingo notification, so.
Okay. No, I gave up on my
not
Duolingo.
something for marching band.
What is your streak now?
What is it? It's 400 and something.
Wow.
479.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Stephanie agrees that the garment tags with what show you've watched while knitting is a product that needs to be made. So I feel like for some of these tags, it needs to be like
Lord of the Rings extended version.
yeah. Well, the tag is going to end up being like, 20 shows long, because sometimes projects just take a while, right? And by the way, Ashley notes that your Duolingo streak is amazing. She's only at 42.
Yeah.
Which I think 42 is pretty amazing, because I think my longest streak was like 10.
Yeah.
Never,
I only
never quite got in
do
the habit.
like one lesson a day though, so I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah. Well, you're 400 and something more lessons than me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Things like that, it's a little bit every day, is so much better than trying to do a whole chunk and then getting burned out and having to stop for a
Yeah.
while. I mean, the same
I'm
thing.
like at a higher level in my German class at school than I am on Duolingo, though. And I can test into higher levels, but I don't feel like it.
For the Duolingo, yeah, because
Yeah.
then it's easy, right?
Yeah.
It's good review, right?
Yeah, it's also fun to say I have a 479-day streak on Duolingo.
Right. I will say though that like that sort of little bit every day type of thing works really well for practicing new crafts. Actually, I was thinking one of the as I mentioned, I was teaching our youngest Christopher how to knit, and we're doing like 10 to 30 minutes a day. But one of the really interesting things that I've learned by watching him, he's invented some very interesting stitches by accident.
Oh.
And I'm actually not 100% sure how he's done some of them. There's been some increases he made, which are really cool. And so I need to try and figure out how he did them. But I really like just letting them go and fixing the major mistakes that are gonna, leave big holes or cause problems later on. But if there's increases, if there's decreases, whatever, just let them go with it. It teaches me something new, and there's no point in nitpicking because it's his first project. So
When I'm crocheting, I love if I'm missing a stitch in the row, I'm not gonna rip it back. Just like add more increases. It works out most of the time.
well, and that actually can work out a lot for knitting if you can put it in the right place.
Yeah.
Especially, Christopher's not going to watch, so I made this from a kit. I just finished this last night. This is going to be a gift for Christopher. We got it at that Shenandoah with the the tornado, but I finally finished knitting it. But that's the crazy thing. This really fluffy fabric is knit, and it was a mess to knit, especially because I could not count the stitches. All the fluff would get in the way, and it was eventually I could count the stitches, but it was really hard to. But as a result, I would be starting to do decreases and knit 4, knit 2 together, knit 4, knit 2 together, knit 4, knit 2 together. Why do I have an extra stitch on here? Okay, well next round I guess I'll just knit 2 together when I should just be knitting in the round, right? So doing those sorts of inline fixes works really well.
Yeah.
Which, bringing things back to spinning, since this is a spinning live stream, since Mother's not here, I can actually say something which I think she'll start to be upset at. So there's the common thing of telling people to enjoy their baby spinning, where it's all slubby and big and little, and people like to joke around about that's it's art yarn, enjoy it. So I am going to agree with what Jill says. That is not art yarn. It is beautiful, it is wonderful, it is something to celebrate, but it's not art yarn. Art yarn is something that is very well crafted and designed to be in a certain way. But the thing that I will say is, as you are teaching people how to spin, and they are creating these crazy accidental things, look how they create the accidental things. Just like I was talking about with Christopher, trying to figure out how he made some of these interesting stitches or increases leads to something where you replicate that in a specific designed way, and then it can become art. Just the same way, as you teach new people how to spin and you see how they do something, see if you can replicate that on purpose, and then it can become art, right? So that's my twist on a controversial statement. And I don't know if Jill's ever going to watch this, so hopefully I don't get kicked. Also, Amy notes that toys are pretty forgiving with the whole bad stitch count and whatnot, especially when they are covered in very thick fluff.
Yeah. Hey, I said I'd never crochet a blanket, and then I did.
Why did you say you'd never crochet a blanket?
Because it seemed like too big of a thing, and then I decided I kind of just wanted a thing I could mindlessly do, and then I ended up crocheting a blanket.
There you go.
So, the next thing I've said I'm never going to do is I'm never going to knit a sweater, and I'm getting kind of tempted to, so who knows? It'll never get finished.
A human sweater?
A human sweater.
Because you're knitting a
Made
sweater
of
now.
yarn, not humans, probably.
So Stephanie notes, again, as I was trying to say in probably too many words, I think Stephanie's saying it very much more eloquently. Art yarn takes a lot of skill and determination and pre-planning. I think Jill agrees. We've talked about that before. So I want to make sure that what I was saying was, in fact, conveying that concept. And Amy says that her first attempt at spinning was with blue fiber. The fiber looked like I'd murdered Cookie Monster when I was done. There's there cookie crumbs everywhere too. I have to see if I still have my first spinning around. Actually,
Mine's probably somewhere.
I first learned. I think when Jill was here, day 2 or 3, we were talking about difficult fibers. I first learned to spin on a support spindle. That was my first spinning, and I first spun with doing support spinning with cotton. And it wasn't. I don't think it was with a HipString spindle that I learned on. It might have been. Yeah, actually, I think it might have been.
It probably was.
It probably was.
I mean, that was the first things HipStrings did.
Yeah. But it was slubby and all over the place. But one of the nice things about actually spinning on a spindle is it helps you learn how to draft without having to fight against the speed of a wheel. So I actually really encourage everybody when they're first learning how to spin, spinning on a spindle is actually a really good option.
And it's cheaper.
It is cheaper.
You don't have to buy a wheel.
Not if you're thinking about, yards per minute, right? It's certainly a lot faster to spin on a wheel.
Yeah.
But if you're just starting out, right, yeah, a spindle makes a lot of sense to just learn. And in fact, it reminds me of my favorite, this was Waynesburg Fiber Festival, I think it was. One of my favorite interactions. I always encourage everybody who's coming around to come and talk and learn. And I don't care if you're, a little kid or a 80-year-old, whatever, right? Like, come and learn. It's fun, it's interesting, and it might not be for you, but at least what do you lose? A couple of minutes of your day. So I had this group of teenagers that were walking around, and clearly they were there because their parents were there. I think one of them was there with his mom, and he was definitely looking around like, what's this stuff? And had his arms crossed, looking around, and I'm like, hey, you guys want to learn how to come and spin? They're like, what? I said, yeah. You want to learn how to spin some yarn? What do you mean? I'm like, come here. See this fluff? We're going to turn this into yarn. And I taught them and I showed them, and they were kind of hesitant and they did it, but they didn't seem super engaged. And then like 30 minutes later, one of the guys comes by and is like, Mom, see, this is the booth I was telling you about. They showed me how to spin. Here, let me show you. And he goes and he shows his mom how he was spinning. He ends up buying a spindle, and he was so excited about it. And it it warmed my heart. It still gives me smiles to this day. Jean, by the way, says, I missed the chat last night. What is the day for lovely pink fiber? So that one, let me make sure I get it. It's Kopiwe. Am I saying that right? Yeah. Kopiwe. It's, let me just go ahead and get the sheet that I threw away in an emphatic methodology, as all, live streamers do. The day 4 was Copiwe Rambouillet silk, 80% Rambouillet and 20% Tussa silk. And now I will throw this away again because I'm sure somebody else will ask about a fiber. And the Copiwe is actually the national flower of Chile. So actually, I should probably mention, I don't think we've mentioned in any of the episodes yet, why are we doing something inspired by Chile? Well, that's because my parents are from there, and my brother was born there. I was born in the U.S., but all my family, all my relatives are from Chile. My mom is actually from Osorno, and my dad was from Santiago. Santiago is the capital city. Osorno is in southern Chile. And I've only been a couple of times, but there's obviously my cultural background, a lot of things from my history and from what my parents have raised me with have elements of Chilean culture. So the image on the bag is from art that I designed based on my memory of having been to Valparaiso, and the trips that I took one trip there with Jill before. The kids have not been yet, so we're planning on maybe in a couple of years taking them all.
Yeah.
And
well, you have to take me before I graduate and leave.
well, I could always, you could come back from college.
What? That's crazy.
One of the crazy things, though, is that I actually, to this day, have not seen Chile in the summer, because I always would go during summer break, and because it's in the southern hemisphere, it's winter there. So I remember there's one time I was looking through the book that a tour guide that Jill had gotten, a tour book, and I was looking at the pictures, and I was like, I've been to that spot, but that photo's weird. Why does it look different? And then it hit me. The trees had leaves. I'd never seen the trees with leaves before. It was very strange. So anyways, that's the reason why the Chilean inspiration. And I finished my day, but we still have a little bit of stuff to talk about, because I realized I had not mentioned the fibers that are up there. So I'm going to get my notes out again. This is called Moonlight. So again, this is part of the Sweets Off the Wheel Spinalong. And I now have verification from Jill. I haven't checked, but Jill has told me that the listings for the pre-orders are indeed up on the HipStrings website. So I will take these down one at a time again. So this is our Targi Bamboo Silk in the Moonlight colorway. This one is in Cormo. And this is in what it looks like on buoy. And this is one of the fascinating things, I think, with dyeing yarn, the way that Jill does. I mean, she has a particular recipe, and you can see on the different bases, they come out very differently. But it's the same recipe, the same dye quantities, the same procedure, etc. So these are up for pre-order. The website should say when they're going to be shipped, but I believe they won't be shipped until the new year. So Jill does want to take a little bit of a break at some point in time. And by the way, Lenora can confirm that the listings are indeed up, and Ashley says that the link is actually in the Discord as well. And so the invite link to our Discord you can find in the description of this video. And this is funny. There was somebody on Reddit today that was complaining about the way that people do their introductions to crafting videos, and I was like, yeah, I've never done that. I've always been really bad about the repeated introduction videos. I even forget to tell people to subscribe. So here's my reminder to tell you guys to subscribe. And click that like button and ring that bell. Smash the like button. Sorry, Gab's keeping me in the in the proper lingo. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Is there anything else that I missed that I need to talk about? I have here. The way I reminded myself, by the way, to specifically talk about how I forget to talk about the subscribe thing is I can't seem to do this YouTube thing right, and I'm okay with that. And the beginning of this video is absolute proof of that. We're just here to talk about fiber and yarn and nerdy things, and we really enjoy the fact that you all can join us. So thank you very much. Hollis is asking, what is Discord? Discord is this really interesting combination between a chat like GChat or iChat with a bit of a forum like Ravelry. So there's tons and tons of different Discords that people can use. You can use it for just one-on-one chatting with people, or you can use it to chat with groups of people. So it's kind of like chat rooms of old. But it is an app that you can get on your phone or your tablet or your computer. So if you, I believe if you go to the link that is in the description, if you don't have Discord installed, it'll send you to a website to download it and sign up for an account and everything. And then there's not only, the HipStrings Discord, there's Discords related to SSK, there's one that we're on and we chat with. There's Discords related to Daedalus. Some people with Patreons will have private Discords, etc. And it's free to set up your own Discord. So if you have a group of friends that you want to start a chat with, you can create your own little server and do that. So that's what a Discord is. So it's a great way to continue the conversation that we're having here on the chat. While we're not doing the video. So Gab, since Jill is going to be back tomorrow, I don't know if we have space for a third chair, but
I don't think so.
If you want to join, we can try to figure something out. But is there anything that you want to say to everybody before you go?
Not really.
Well, I enjoyed having you join us. It was really fun, and thank you for being my foil. I do have to ask you if you know, what is a pirate's favorite type of blade?
A rock.
Oh, blade's not sharp. A scimitar.
What?
A scimitar.
I don't know what that is.
It's a curved blade. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ashley, by the way, says it was wonderful having you here. So, well, we're definitely going to have to find some more time to get you involved in these videos. But thank you very much, everyone. I promise next time I'll be able to actually start on time. I mean, I started performing on time. I just didn't hit the button right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.